been a little while since I've done one of these. So it is currently April 8th, 2019. It is about almost 7 p.m. On a Monday. Got today off of work. So this past weekend, went to O'Malley's on the square. Good amount of people know me from there. I don't frequent there as much as I could, but I do have a good time. So I was out front of O'Malley's having a drink with one of my friends, and wearing my top hat and my trench coat, and had somebody walk up to me. Usually when people walk up to me at O'Malley's, they're like, "Hey, nice hat, nice coat, blah blah blah." This guy, I remember specifically, even though I was a few drinks in, and so I remember this guy specifically came up, was like, "Hey, I got something for you. I like your style." And he hands me something. He hands me a USB drive. He's like, "This is an 8 gig USB drive, yours to do with whatever you want." One of my friends kind of leans into me and is like, "That's some dark web shit right there." So I was like, "Wait a minute, guy, wait a minute. I got something for you." And I gave him one of my business cards for one of the places I work. And he's like, "No, here, I'll give you one of my business cards." And his name is Jeremiah Delgado with OcalaNews.com. His business card labels him as the co-owner CFO of Ocala News. Got his card right here. So, when I got home, obviously I didn't remember I had that flash drive. I got to work the next day, I had it in my pocket, and I was like, I'm going to take a look at this. There was nothing on the flash drive. It was blank. In fact, it hadn't even been formatted properly. Basically, the company, I'm assuming Ocala News, because it had OcalaNews.com labeled on the side of the flash drive, bought a bunch of these flash drives as promotional material. Great idea. People use flash drives all the time. Genius. Where he fucked up is this. It is an 8 gig flash drive, which is fine, perfectly fine. In fact, he probably bought 1 billion of them on the cheap. That's cool. People will still use an 8 gig flash drive. Don't get me wrong there. Where he fucked up is he gave me this flash drive. Okay? And Mr. Delgado, I'm going to be putting a copy of this video onto this flash drive, and I'm going to try to search you out and give it back to you. I'm not saying that you specifically fucked up. I'm saying that perhaps the company did. And I'm going to show you what I think you should have done on the flash drive. Because USB flash drives, okay, when you have a USB flash drive, it is not hard to plug them into a computer and format them so that they can be used on many devices. Computers, printers, some cell phones even. Now, what I personally believe you should have done is put a promotional video for OcalaNews.com on that flash drive, and I believe you personally should have put some type of story or headline or even a link to your website. Because now I have your business card and I have a flash drive that say OcalaNews.com, but for the ease of your clientele, if you want to promote your business, or you want to promote your news source, if you want to be, the slogan on your card and on your flash drive says real news right now. So I'm thinking you want to promote your news source and you want to make it the #1 news source in Ocala and the surrounding area. Great idea. I mean, there's a handful of other news sources here, Star Banner being one of them, been around for years and years. Why would I choose OcalaNews.com over, say, the Star Banner? Something should have been in a promotional video dictating why that would be a good idea. Why should I set OcalaNews.com as my homepage on my computer so I can see your news source? I think those ideas should have been thrown out your IT department that probably suggested you get a bunch of USB drives. Now, I'm not saying you specifically fucked up. I'm saying somebody dropped the ball here. So I'm going to share with you some rant videos that I did a few years ago. Now, I do rant videos on my own personal Facebook page. I will actually include on the flash drive a note document that has links to my Facebook and my email, so you can get in contact with me if you're curious. But for those of you who are watching this on my Facebook page, you're going to get a rehash of some of the rant videos that I have previously done on this video. And the reason why I'm putting them on this video is because I want to prove to Mr. Delgado that there are news sources that are outside of our community that have pressing news interests that may impact our local community, i.e. tech news. You're probably watching this, all the people that are watching this on Facebook, mind you, you're probably watching this on a cell phone, because a lot of you have smartphones. So I have some news on here that might interest you. Now, stay tuned, and I'll see you at the end. So what if I told you that every job you've ever applied to has been breaking privacy standard laws and possibly sharing your information with people or places that really don't need it? What if I told you that connecting to a random wireless hotspot was a really bad idea? What if I had told you that both of those things are very, very true?
Angle of trajectory alpha 24 degrees. Speed 73,000 miles per second. Distance 180,000 miles. Computer is picking up a strange signal.
Damn signal from damaging Earth's radio system. Into the radio sector.
It is September 9th, 2016. I'm sitting here at my house and just had a few more random thoughts come in my mind that I thought I might share. So, how many jobs have you had in your lifetime where you have to give up your, say, your driver's license number and your social security number? Just to, two forms of identification. Standard in most jobs, right? Have that W-2 form to prove who you are. That form you fill out that shows, okay, I make so much money, I need to pay so much in taxes. Now, almost every place that you have applied for usually makes copies of that information. Usually they take a copy of your driver's license number. Usually they make a copy of your social to put on their records. In most instances, this is fine because they need it for taxes. They need it for whatever they need it for. You usually sign that piece of paper and give them what they need. Now, in a lot of jobs though, in a lot of office jobs specifically, and I want to say probably 99% of office jobs, they use the office copier to scan your driver's license, to scan your social, to make a copy for their records. Now, what if I told you that you may have applied for that job back in 1995 and you might not work there anymore? But what if I told you I could get your driver's license number and your social and I don't have to hack anything? All I would have to pay is probably $200. And I could get everybody's driver's license number and everybody's social that worked in that particular store. And it would be completely legal. Scary? Fact. Most places that, most office jobs, they use the office printer, which is usually a big piece of machinery that can scan, print items that are usually done for hundreds of office tasks. Print this report, print that report, send, fax, email, any number of things. More specifically, the kind that you see at like Staples or Office Depot or Office Max or different places like that. The big machines that you go to on a, say, daily, weekly, monthly basis to go print whatever you need to print. Those things that a lot of people don't even realize, because, say I apply for a job tomorrow and they ask me, hey, make sure to bring in a copy of your driver's license number for me. And you're thinking, well, shit, I don't have a copier, but Staples does. I can run down to Staples and print from there, and it will be fine. No, it's not fine. It's not fine at all. Because all of those printers have a built-in memory. Most of those printers have, say, a 500 or a terabyte or even 2 terabyte hard drives built into them. No reason at all. They don't need that kind of memory. They don't need that kind of space. But they're built into them so that they have the functionality to be able to scan, save the image, print the image as many times. So it only has to scan once, and then it prints the image as many times as you want because it has the image saved on the hard drive. Now, if you've ever gone to one of these machines and you hit that test print button, it will display a long sequence of numbers, usually 8, 10, 12 numbers long random sequence of numbers. That sequence of numbers is usually how many print jobs that particular printer has had, not in that day, but since its installment. And that number equals the number of images that is on that printer's hard drive. And I can go to any of these old office supply stores. Say if I wanted to go to Staples right now, if I had enough money, I can go to Staples right now and say, hey, manager, I want to buy your printer, the big printer that's right out here in front that people use every single day. I want to buy this printer. I'll give you $1,000 right now. You'll make $1,000 sale. You can talk to your district manager. You can talk to whoever you want. You'll make $1,000 sale right now. Just want that printer. Most managers will be like, I can make $1,000 sale from my store. Fuck yeah, you buy it. It's yours. It's all yours. You deal with it. Then I would coat that. I would wheel that thing outside and just take the hard drive out, because I paid $1,000 for a hard drive with over 1,000 print jobs on it that have driver's license numbers, social security numbers, medical records, have all sorts of things that any number of people have printed or made copies of off of that printer. Perfectly legal. Completely unsecure. And if you don't believe me, look it up. I do believe MSN, Yahoo, different news sources like that, they've run news reports on these things in years past, but a lot of people didn't really pay them any mind because, oh, no one's going to go to do that. No. No one is. I could go and buy one of these office printers from any of these old clearance stores that are going out of business because bigger places like Staples are buying them out and closing them down. I could go to any of these like mom and pop print shops that are going out of business, buy their printer, and just completely destroy someone else's identity. And it would be completely legal. As stupid as it sounds, it would be completely legal. So I submit to all of you, if you apply for a job, or if you apply somewhere that asks for a copy of your driver's license, more specifically a copy of your social, that you ask that they use a in-house printer, an in-house, like one of these smaller, directly connected to a computer because it doesn't have any built-in memory, one of these smaller, like thin, streamline scanners. Or you can take a picture of it and email it to them. Now that's not very secure either. I'm not going to lie to you. more specifically in what I'm going to talk about next. But yeah, you really have to watch what you do, what you print, what you save onto those bigger industrial printers. Now, a lot of phone companies nowadays don't have unlimited data plans anymore, because they've realized over the number of years that unlimited data isn't really unlimited. It's really, you only get so many gigs of 4G, you only get so many gigs of 3G, and then you can drop down to LTE or basic. Now, this isn't really that big of a deal for most of us, because, like, for example, for myself, I don't have a data plan. All of this runs off of Wi-Fi, which is both good and bad. Now, all of my stuff runs off of Wi-Fi. 99% of the time, it's running off of my own Wi-Fi, which is an internet that I paid for, goes through my system, goes through my router, goes to Cox Internet. Now, let's say, for example, I am over at Starbucks, and Starbucks has free Wi-Fi. I can connect to free Wi-Fi on my phone, and I can check my stuff all I want. Now, let's say you go to the mall, and you log into the mall Wi-Fi. You log in, and you see a network that says free public Wi-Fi. And you connect to it. And there's a little security thing that comes up that says, click here to continue. And you click it, and you go. Nobody ever reads the fucking terms of service on those free Wi-Fi networks. Now, you really should. And more specifically, you should be afraid for networks that don't have that terms of service. And why I'm saying this is, there was a hacker recently that decided to go to a mall in, I think it was North Dakota. I can't give you the specified, where he went. I can't give you his name, things like that. I heard about this. And what he did was he set up his laptop and he made what's called a rogue access point. He set up his laptop to transmit a wireless network. And he had his phone synced up to his laptop so that his laptop could feed off of the phone's Wi-Fi. So his phone acted as the antenna and his laptop acted as the receiver. But his phone was directly connected to his laptop, and his laptop was transmitting the free public Wi-Fi signal. So everybody in the mall was like, ooh, free Wi-Fi. More specifically, all of those people in the food court. Because you eat your food, you check your phone. Happens to a lot of people all the time. And all of those people that don't have unlimited data that wanted to check, say, their Facebook or their bank account or their email, all of them that connected to his free public Wi-Fi, yeah, they got internet, but all of their data went through his laptop, and he was able to see everything that anyone did. So you know how your Facebook automatically connects you to your specific Facebook? You log into Facebook on the app, it automatically logs you into your username, your password. You load up your email, it automatically logs you into your email, your password. You log into whatever other social network that you have, and it automatically logs you into your email, your password. This is bad. If you are on a cell phone signal, this is okay. If you are on your own wireless network, this is okay. If you are on a rogue access point, this is not okay. Now, one way to know about this, whether it's a rogue access point or not, is say you go into McDonald's and you see there's 2 or 3 Wi-Fi networks in here. Don't look around for the guy with the laptop to see if it's a hacker. It's not going to prove anything. Because I could sit out in my car, I could work for the damn McDonald's, put my laptop in my car in the parking lot, broadcast the signal. You would never even know. The signal would say, McDonald's Wi-Fi, and you connect to it, and you're going to give me all your data. And meanwhile, I'm going to be at work. You're never even going to know. So what you need to do is when you're out at a place like Starbucks or Burger King, you scroll through the list of connections that you can make, and you ask them, hey, I see the sign on the door says you have free Wi-Fi. Which one of these is yours? A lot of employees aren't going to know, but the manager should. If you have to ask, you have to ask. But that 30-second question could save you from having to change all of your bank account information. Could keep you from having to go through the process of identity theft with your driver's license number and your social security number that you sent in that email to your boss. It could save you from having to change all your passwords to all of your logins, to all of your social networks. That 30-second question, that's all it takes. You just ask, hey, which one of these is yours? Because companies, although they can look at your information, 99% of them don't. They usually have that terms of service to prevent things like child pornography, to prevent things like pirating on their networks, which is perfectly fine with me, because I don't do any of that shit. Can't really vouch so much on the pirating part, but that's entirely different. Now, what you really need to do, like, say for me, for example, I could get my laptop out and I could go out somewhere and I could set up a free public Wi-Fi and have people connect to it left and right. It will show me the name of their device, the IP address of their device, the last 5 or 6 places, physical locations this device was logged in for. Like, if you usually go at your house and log in at your house, it'll give me the address of your house because most phones have GPSs on them. And the GPS will give me coordinates and tell me exactly where you live. And then if you send an email with your driver's license and your social, and I hacked your email through that fucking device, now I have all of your information. I can ruin your life if I wanted to. It's all because you decided to get free Wi-Fi. So you really need to watch where you make your copies and where you log into the internet. Because those two things can change your life if the wrong person does just the right thing. Kind of scary. So, I was listening to one of my podcasts called Grumpy Old Geeks. It's two guys that talk about geek news and, stuff that interests them and also interests me because it's geeky shit. And they mentioned that in one of the articles that they were reporting on, people can hack your Wi-Fi router now and can not only determine when you're home, when you're not home by your internet usage, but also by the signal strength of the router. Because basically the human body is a bag of salt, water, and meat. So the signal strength that varies from place to place, from transmitter to receiver, what it has to transmit through in order to get to the receiver varies depending on what there is. If there's a wall, if there's concrete, if there's wood, the signal strength varies. And science has actually determined what the signal strength of a Wi-Fi router produces through a human body. Not only that, but because every human body is different, you could actually program a router to identify a given person after trial and error, mind you, so that way you can determine not only how many people are in your house, but who is in your house, simply through using the wireless router and some familiar technology. And I thought that was a little fucking creepy. I mean, just imagine, say you're on vacation, you've gone to, Disney World, you're going to be there for a week or whatever the case is, you've gone out of country, and your phone alerts you to say, hey, there's somebody in your house. Because this watery bag of meat is walking through your house and it's moving a metal object. Somebody's stealing your TV. And the Wi-Fi router knows, not your security camera, because thieves know to look for cameras. They know to look for motion sensors. They know to look for heat sensors. They know biometrics. Hell, did you know that also on the Gig podcast they put out that if you lock your phone, if you've got a phone that has fingerprint technology that you can lock your phone with your fingerprint, your biometric data is subject to police investigation. So if you lock, say you're a hacker and you use your phone to hack everything, if you lock your phone with your fingerprint, the police can seize your fingerprint and use it to unlock your phone to get that information. Now, if you lock your phone with a password or a code of some kind, that password and code, they cannot get a court order to do that. They can get a court order to seize your fingerprints because they need them for record, but they cannot get a court order to ask you for your password unless they have significant proof that that's what they need. So for anybody that keeps anything of relative value on, say, your phone, if it has the fingerprint technology, don't use your fingerprint. Use a code. Because biometric data, be it with your eyes, with your fingerprint, with your blood, anything like that, it's not foolproof. It's just as hackable, if not more easily obtainable than your actual password number or phrase or whatever you have. But just imagine you're on vacation and your phone alerts you to say, hey, there's someone stealing your shit. You should call the police because just imagine a series of these Wi-Fi routers throughout your neighborhood, throughout your apartment complex, whatever. All of these routers know, okay, Tim owns this router. His biometric, his body signature is this. So we know that whenever he goes into any residence, that's him because of how the signal strength of the router is. We know that that's him. Now just imagine if every person on the planet, because we're all subjected to all sorts of radio waves, cell phone signals, wireless signals, any number of signals on so many different levels that right now it is ridiculous. I could pull out my radio and pull up NOAA weather radio. I could pull up AM/FM radio, and how many of these different businesses are using walkie radio transmissions to communicate with their employees, including the place that I work. You just imagine, right now, I am being bombarded with not only the solar radiation, but AM, FM, RF, infrared, all sorts of different, transmissions that there is no way to block all of these things unless I build myself a Faraday cage that you only see in the movies. And when you go to think about all of those movies that have that psycho hacker that's in this huge metal box of, chain link and all this, that is really the only way that you can be in a private space, because legally, my being out here like this, legally there is no expectation of privacy. If I am out here having a conversation with you, with anybody, talking to myself, if somebody's listening in with a device from over there, hell, if they're looking at me from a satellite right now, they know exactly where I am and what I'm doing at all given points in time, if anybody wants to do that. because legally they can. There is no expectation of privacy when you're in a public place. Not to mention, if you're in a private space. If I am in my own home and the government, or Cox, for example. Cox owns my modem. They do not own my wireless router. I own my wireless router. But if I decided to go with their upgrade or whatever and get their wireless router, they could use their wireless router to gather my biometric data so that they can identify me from that signal strength I was telling you about, communicate that with authorities of any measure, and now anytime I were to enter into somebody else's home, they have my biometrics, they know where I am at any given point in time, and then they can use me logging into any access point to know what I'm doing online, where I'm posting these videos, any given number of things. There are cameras nowadays where I can hold my hand up like this, just saying, oh God, you know, whatever. And you can pull my fingerprints off of my hand from damn near a mile away. And that is perfectly legal. So if you think for any number of seconds that anything that you do in a given public space is private, it's not. There's no expectation of privacy, and that is the law. You can go and look that up. It's ridiculous. I can be behind this plaza, which is perfectly legal. There are no trespassing signs of any kind. I can walk behind this plaza, talk about whatever I want to whomever I want, but if the government or anybody so chooses to look at me and go through everything of mine, no matter where I go, unless I lock myself in a metal box, which is my own doing if I want to, but unless I lock myself in a metal box and exclude myself from everything which is the outside world, that is the only way you would have any real privacy. And that's a little fucked.
Radio sector.
Programming has been interrupted due to an existing emergency. Follow the instructions on your screen and prepare to take emergency action.
I repeat, you must evacuate the city at once.
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
So now again, those videos that you watched just a moment ago are rants I've done years ago. I do rants from time to time now, and the newer ones are on my Facebook page. In fact, I made a rant video a few months ago about 5G cell phone towers, and that directly impacts the health and well-being of our local community as well as the nation. A lot of people don't realize that 5G cell phone towers have not necessarily been tested against CDC and other, regulations. People just want that faster speed on your cell phone, and it's actually causing a lot of health issues. So consider going back through my rant videos, consider going back through my Facebook videos, consider going back through what I have already produced. And ask yourself this: if you are a legitimate news source, if you are legitimately the CFO and co-owner of OcalaNews.com, would you hire somebody that knows about the tech world? And if so, you have my contact information. If not, have a good day.